Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you all to today's training on building a portfolio. Please note that today's session is being recorded. My name is Lisa Carrozza, and I'm the Assistant Director for the Career Center in Waterbury. I'd like to introduce our presenter today, Ellery Rojas. Ellery is an academic partnership manager at Wix.com, where she helps students become career ready with professional online presence and the necessary digital skills to build their portfolio, personal brand, or online business. Before joining Wix, Ellery spent over 10 years in higher education, assisting students with their academic and career development. She has worked as the Assistant Director of Internships for Employer Engagement in the Career and Talent Development Department at Florida International University, and is Admissions Counselor and Recruiter for Albizu University. So with that being said, Ellery, we'll hand it over to you.
Thank you all so much for joining and spending this hour with us. I promise I'll make it as painless as possible, but I also want to encourage you all to please, let's be interactive, ask questions. Don't be afraid to do so. No question is a bad question is what I'd like to say. And if you ask it, I'm sure someone else in the attendees probably has it too. So I am going to be talking a little bit about Wix. And for many of you, I'd love to know, have you heard of Wix before or have you used it? I'd love to know. Yes, Jose's like, of course I have. Feel free to add it in the chat or give me a thumbs up with a little emoticon. Talia mentioned no. Awesome. And if you could also provide in your name the college. I know I have a nice list, but I'd love to know who is from where. So feel free to add that in your name, the kind of background that you work in, which college. Okay, great. So I have a lot of no's, so I'm happy to kind of do that introduction and start from scratch. I hear that you are all career champions, so thank you for doing that for the Career Center. I know that Lisa and her team really appreciate it, and students are definitely going to appreciate it even more. So talking a little bit about Wix for higher education, right? Who is Wix? We're one of the largest website builders out there. And so what we're able to provide is the ability for any user to create a website or an online space for them. And for my team, I work on the higher education and academic partnerships team. And what we get to do is work with many universities, faculty, staff, and educators and learners, or students as well, to help them get on this digital train, right? What does it mean and how does it work? And if you haven't worked with portfolios before, I'll definitely be able to help you with that. And so what my team and I get to do is really get those students career ready with these digital skills and be able to also provide a space where they have this understanding of what does it mean to be online? How do I showcase myself? What can I do beyond a resume? And how do I show the different academic transferable skills that I can bring into a career that I'm interested, whether it's an internship or a job opportunity, really being able to do that. And we're able to help our educators bring it into the classroom. And so how we partner with schools is really in a variety of ways. And so it could be with workshops, with presentations, it could be with curriculum material. We also provide one-on-ones with students, just like you would in a career space where maybe they come in with a resume and they're like, what does this look like? Is this good? Am I on the right track? We do that with portfolios as well to help them and assist them and let them know the yays and nays and the guidelines of what that means. And also at a higher level, if schools are looking to have it at an enterprise and large at scale, we also provide that too. So what I want to show you just to start the process is be able to give you an idea of what an e-portfolio could look like. And this is something that can run across many majors. This isn't just pigeonholed to actors or theater majors or media arts or communications or PR. It really depends on what that purpose is for that student, and they'll be able to find a template that works for them. Now, we have here Rebecca Gladstone. This is a really great portfolio that I like to showcase because based on our different portfolio steps, she's been able to kind of hit everything right on the nail on the head. And so she has a great introduction. And what I'm going to do is just scroll through it and ask all of you maybe 3 things that come to mind or 3 adjectives that come to mind as we are exploring her portfolio. So any 3 things, feel free to add it in the chat. Okay, we scroll through her page. We're able now to see her individual projects, how she showcases them. So any 3 things that come to mind, go ahead and type them in the chat. As I take a look here at participants. All right, I see Amanda mentioned she's from the School of Business. We have communications. Okay. So I need 3 things that come to mind. All right, women in digital design. Okay, good. So I want to say we've spent easy to navigate. Yes. We spent about, I don't know, maybe like a minute with this portfolio. And you kind of get an idea of the work that she's showcasing already, besides the welcoming page. You see we have a nice clean design principles in play. Absolutely. And so I want you to think about what a student's resume would look like. And recruiters typically take about 6 to 7 seconds to look at them, right? So when you're sharing a portfolio, you're being able to share visually what you'd be writing in black and white on a resume. And a recruiter will typically sit with this for about 3 minutes because they're getting to know the student. They're really understanding what they're trying to showcase. What are those transferable skills? What is it that makes them excited and different, right? And stand out. You're able to see in her description the roles and what it is the project entailed for these different nonprofit organizations, right? And so 3 minutes is a good amount of time to say, hey, I'd really like to go on ahead and have this person interviewed for a position that they just applied for. So really think about how you're able to have your student have themselves be showcased and learn a little bit more about them as well, right? So we're able to see here, there's 3 pages, a work page to showcase her portfolio and all of her different projects, an about me section that allows the visitor to learn even more on what they want to talk about and what their purpose is, what they're looking for, and a 3rd page, which is the contact information that allows the visitor to either communicate with them through a form. And also it allows Rebecca to invite them to email them directly, especially if it's a recruiter, they want to communicate with them very quickly. Add them to her professional Instagram to showcase herself, right, in a different medium, and as well as build her network. So if you want to be added to her network and learn more about her and include her, then you'll be able to go to her professional Instagram. So a lot of great things are happening in here, showcasing your work, communication, being able to stand out against many other majors that are showcasing themselves in UX and UI design. So I want to just give you that understanding of how great a portfolio can be. I've added a few examples in here just to showcase a little bit of a variety of majors that you can go through. I'll be providing this deck to Lisa, but it's at least a taste of what you can see students can do, what they're capable of, and how easily they can stand out against the crowd. I know this is something that I was a huge advocate for, which was high impact practices in my previous role within internships in higher ed. So I also wanted to show this to you all as practitioners and higher ed folks of how this is also one of those high impact areas. It's one of the 11 areas that's been added by the American Association of Colleges and Universities, and ePortfolios is able to showcase not only the student and those skills that they want to advocate for themselves for when they are applying, but also it lets them reflect on all the work that they've done academically. Just like all of us, we kind of don't think about the day-to-day and the growth and the learning until you kind of really see it laid out visually. So it's a really great representation of what students have done throughout their time in academics. And then once they're ready to fly, right, and get that job opportunity and go into their career journeys, it allows them to showcase that to employers. So just something I wanted to add in there and provide you a little bit more details that there is a science behind it, and it does exist, and I'm happy to share that with you all. And so what does that mean, right? You're able to have the student go from college to career and have that ability to go through that process, and they will also internally understand how they've grown as well. But at the same time, it's something that lives with them beyond academics. So they can always use this after when they finish, and they'll be able to use it either to showcase themselves or to start a blog. I've had some students that like to even use it to then, have their own presence online and build a company. So it just depends. They're going to be building these digital skills that they can use across a variety of reasons. And so for me, when it comes to career readiness, and maybe the NACE competencies, what does that mean? What are those skills that portfolios are providing, and what does that mean when they're fostering career readiness? And these are all skills that employers are looking for, and all whether it's career services or whether it's a variety of different career development centers, hand in hand, this tool allows the students to build on their technology skills, build on their communication, like I mentioned, self-development, their networking ability, right? So they're also inviting and creating a networking opportunity within those sites. It becomes a really great hub for them, but also it showcases them professionally, and it allows others to see how they can use these critical skills when they're showcasing themselves. Beyond that, I want to also say we're always looking for what are those trends? What is it that's happening out there in the real world, right? So we look at these reports that we see from the World Economic Forum, and we say, wow, what is this future of jobs report? And this was built for 2022 for 2023, right? And these are the things that employers are looking for. And it hits on all of those factors that we talked about before, right? Creativity, originality, initiative, active learning strategies, leadership and social influence, technology, designing and programming, critical thinking and analysis, problem solving. These are all things that everyone is looking for in the real world. And I'm happy to say that these are things and skills that are being built while students are learning this. Something that I want to add also is I have this quote that our team really talk about. And I love that Joel's like, yes, preach, Ellery, preach. Digital natives, okay? Our students are growing up in this digital environment where we expect them to know all of this advanced technology and the knowledge. But that doesn't mean that it necessarily is true. And so through this, we see this quote that says, though today's young people have gained a reputation as digital natives, that doesn't always translate to having the digital skills that are needed to succeed. And so I'm happy to be part of that solution in the programming that we do, and being able to spread that across universities with our school partners. And so I hope that all of you are here today to do just that, right? We're going to guide them through, like we do in academics. Gosh, we have a lot of responsibility guiding their lives, right? Guiding their purpose. And so being able to guide them on this adventure of understanding, hey, you can use this as a positive way, not just social media that can sometimes be used in a negative way. So happy to kind of be part of that solution, and then show a little bit more of data, right? So what can we do to talk about what's happening out there when it comes to recruitment? I feel like COVID has high-sped many different areas and things that maybe would have been for the future of work and that process. And so when I look at these numbers and I see, wow, recruiters, they find a lot of their candidates on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been massive, I want to say, in the last 5 to 6 years. It was big when it started. It didn't have so many people. It had a different purpose. But I feel now it's such a powerful tool. It's something that's been really embedded within higher education to get students launched in those options rather than going to a larger search of employer sites. And we're also looking at how employers who they recruit on social media, right? And what does that mean? I remember working in the career space, and I know Lisa can probably advocate with me. Many employers are looking to get on social media to be where students are. So seeing this data is pretty huge. And then also being able to see how employers say, hey, if I can't find you online, I might not even get you into an interview. That's huge. So how do we get the students to have the space online? And through Wix, it's a great tool because we also provide students the ability to create their own search engine optimization, their own SEO, which means, for those of you that might not know, it allows them to create those tags or those search words that'll allow someone who's looking them up have the website come up first. And so it's a great way for you to kind of imagine if you Google something and you see a list of things that pop up, theirs will be at the top of that list rather than having a Google ad or paying for it. It will be organic. And so we show them how to do that on the back end too. So it's a really great tool that students love to learn. So I want to start asking you all questions. I'd like to know, for many of you who haven't used Wix, but I want to know how many of you are familiar with ePortfolios, and do you work with ePortfolios? So I'd love to kind of have a little bit of discussion about that before I go into demoing the product, so you can kind of see how easily students can start that process of the ePortfolio. So I'd love to open the floor. Feel free to unmute. Hey, Hugo, got a question for me? All right, Amanda, I haven't worked with them in the past, but am interested in seeing if it would fit in with any of my business majors. I love that you mentioned majors, right? Because portfolios is something you can use across all majors. I've been a part of a plethora of courses and classes and different departments, and business majors really like to have fun with it. And depending on your college, what is part of your business major, right? Because I have like marketing, I've seen business analytics, I've seen different professors have me within those courses, maybe even health analytics, and I'm able to have a project at the end of those classes that the students work on throughout the semester, and they're able to build a site, and for different reasons, right? It doesn't have to be a portfolio, but it could be build a business, understand the marketing, and be able to showcase that. So it just depends on what you want to use it for. Manish mentions that they use Portfolium when he was in grad school. Yes, so Portfolium, depending on the school, either love or hate it. And I'm a little biased on this, but I'm trying not to be. I do want to say that websites do allow, something like Wix, allow students to be much more unique and be able to showcase and customize to their personality much more than Portfolium. So I imagine you remember using it, and it looks a little bit more, I don't want to say plain, but everyone looks the same. And it's supposed to be used as a network within universities, but I've heard different feedback from students and folks. So thank you for mentioning that. All right, Joel, yes. Yes, feel free to unmute, no worries. That button somewhere, there we go.
Sorry, my mouse is fell asleep on me. So we just created a portfolio course as part of our major. It's one of the options they have for the immersion course requirement. And so we are currently trying to standardize the web location, the web site that students will be using. And so Wix is one of the ones we're investigating because of its popularity. But we're also looking at some others because first year writing uses websites as part of their multimodal composition. So they're already begun that if they're starting here at UConn with their, at least in the Storrs campus. If they are doing the first year writing, they're doing multimodal composition. And one of the elements of that is creating a website where they do all their multimodal remixing.
Yes, and wow, writing is, I've been a part of a lot of writing centers and e-portfolio programs. And English departments are on point when it comes to that. And I do want to mention something that's really important, and that's that Wix is based off of a freemium model. And so this really breaks that barrier for any students that maybe are worried about paying for it or equitability. It is a free platform. So that means that students can make as many sites as they would like. They can also use any templates. We have hundreds of templates that are already created and built with our designers and our developers, keeping in mind what the needs are of all the different users that build on Wix. And so that's something that is a huge plus that I did want to add as well. So being able to add it to your program as an option is really nice. I've seen that we have been part of e-portfolio programs in universities and writing centers and writing and English departments. And so I've heard from my partners that they use Google Sites and they've used, what is the one with all the coding? WordPress, which seems to be a little bit more difficult depending on where the student is at, and Wix, and they've noticed that Wix just happens to be easier. It's really great for the novice as well. That's not super techy. And so everything is drag and drop, and I'll show you what that kind of looks like. So it would be awesome to even have you kind of, you know, have the students surveyed and say, which one do you like more? Yes.
Sorry, and forgive my ignorance, but does UConn, if anyone in the room knows, does UConn have a subscription of some sort with Wix, or is this kind of on a free use kind of basis? And then if students want to do premium, they would do premium.
So for me, my partnership with UConn has been just having a workshop every once in a while, right? With the Career Center. I think we've done it a few times. But it is something that can grow. And so I was asking Lisa, if anyone wants to partner, there's different levels of that, right? And so you can have our curriculum developer, you're creating the courses, and she'll be back in April. And what she does is works with those colleges and those faculty to say, hey, this is what I'm building. How do I add this into my curriculum? And so she'll build it out for you. And I think it usually takes about a week. And so that's a process. And then there's also training, kind of like today, today's like an intro, but she does like an in-depth training of, hey, this is what's in the curriculum. This is how you'll teach it, because faculty at the end of the day are the ones that are going to do the work. And so faculty like to have that training and that understanding of, okay, what do I do? How do I do it? In the curriculum, it's the homework assignments. The faculty has their worksheets that they're going to be working from, and students are going to have that too. And students are going to be able to go through that semester learning how to do each one of these steps to then get to the end result, which is what the end project is. So that's something that you can add as well. I'm happy to connect with you after and just kind of talk about those things, and I'll add some of those sections at the end of the session too, and how you can partner. And some universities like to do, and some colleges and some departments, because everyone's different, it might not be at a larger scale, but some departments also like to have it for their students. There's some colleges that require portfolios. And so if you're looking to have it so that students can then have a premium account, which allows them to remove, there's like a free banner that shows up on top. And they also would get their own URL link, right? Their own domain. Wix gives you a free one. And so that's usually what we see why students might want to upgrade. So that's always something that's a plus. So good questions. Awesome. Anyone else work with ePortfolios or have any questions before I start the demo portion? feel free to type it in the chat. And if you do come up with something, happy to kind of go over it. Lisa, you'll let me know about my time. And also we'll go on ahead, and if you see any questions while I'm in here blabbing away, then we'll get started. So what I want to show you is how easily a student can get started with that process, right? And so what they'll do is go into Wix.com, they'll set up an account with an email and a password, and that's totally free, so they don't have to worry about paying for that. And then what Wix does is just ask a few questions to get an understanding of, hey, what do you want to build? What kind of site is it that we're looking at? And students can easily enter a text in here if they wanted to. If they were to put in portfolio, it already gives you a few options, right, of what that could be. What I like to do is just leave this blank. And I'm going to skip through these questions with you, but just have that understanding that Wix is trying to learn about the user. What are you building? What kind of features are you looking for? And then from there, they're really able to get started on choosing a template. And what I mean by template is it's going to be a site that's been created by developers and our designers to fit the needs depending on what that could be. So we always want a student to start with a template that they can customize, which means just that. The other option here, custom built, just means that Wix asks further questions and then makes the template for them. And then the customize a template really allows the student to choose that template. So you'll see here on the page, you have already a few options that pop up. Students can go through the drop-down menu and really start going through industry, category, the types of templates that they might be looking for. And in our workshops, what we talk about are the 3 pillars in the portfolio process before they even get to this design side. And that's something that I always like to talk about first with the students, because they can really get caught up in looking and finding what brand do I want? Brand really matters at the very end. And so purpose and goal, and then gathering that content is one of the first 2 steps before they go to branding. But here is where they'll be able to look at what these different areas are, and they can also do a nice little search. What I have many students go to is straight into the creative side where it says portfolio and CV. And you'll notice that there's kind of 3 categories, right? Portfolio is much more visual. Do I want to display my visual items that I'm trying to show here to my visitor? Am I looking to sell my visual item? Am I looking to have them go and follow me through a social media? So there's very specific ones. And so if I were to show you here one that is an example of an Illustrator, automatically you see work that's being showcased. Okay. Students can preview these templates before they commit to them, before they choose one, which is awesome because now you get to see a variety of options. You get to see how the templates have different features. One of the things that we teach them is understanding your purpose and your goal and understanding what features you would need. And so you have your 3 pages that showcase their work, their about me, and then this particular template wants them to be followed to their Instagram account. So they're building a following. Okay. And from that, you'll be able to see if you choose a resume and CV one, it's more intentional. Now, not only am I looking to showcase my work, but I'm also looking to gain employment. And if you have a student that's really starting off and they want to choose one of these, they can easily do that. And you'll be able to see the difference in one of these. So if I were to click here, view, I'll be able to see the intention is clear, right? This is me, this is what I am, this is my major. Here's a quick welcome and description of my intention. Take a look at my resume and take a look at the different projects that I have. So very, very intentional, right? You're able to see how this is already built in with a resume that students can easily type up and customize. And it has a call to action button here that says, hey, not only are you taking a look at me and my work, but make sure you can download my resume. So we really help the students and we teach them on how to do each one of these things. How do I customize it? How do I upload documents? How do I create pages? This already has 4 pages. How do I duplicate this page so that I can create symmetry and showcase my work? And most importantly, how do I create a contact, right? So this has a form and then uses different social media links and information on the bottom of the footer of the page. So I have here a question from Inda. What would you recommend for a writing portfolio? English advisor here. Ooh, I like my English advisors. Okay, great. So it really depends. I would definitely have them explore because it's all about having that understanding of I want to say maybe journalism. I would want them to take a look at the different types of templates. And so how do they want to showcase themselves, right? How do ChatGPT, that is so funny. We do have a little bit of that in here and I will showcase it because we've had it before and with ChatGPT has been pretty popular. But let me just kind of give you something. Let me see, maybe a copywriter. They'll be able to really look at a variety of templates and they can choose any template and make it very unique and make it very customized to what they want to do. So what kind of writings? I've seen really beautiful English and writing portfolios, and it's just a matter of which fits their personality and their taste and their brand at the end of the day. And so here you're kind of able to see, is it through images? And then I go on ahead and I make a description and I write my article and I add it in here. Do I show a link that then takes them to a page that my article lives on? I always recommend my writing majors and my English majors, if they have work and it is published, make sure you also have a PDF. So we show them how to attach PDFs, how to add it as an app in here. And so you're able to see how you can kind of display the writings differently. I've seen students use a template that is kind of like a huge timeline, and then their articles are listed as timelines, depending on how they want to showcase their writing portfolio. I've seen students that like to use a blog feature. Okay, they like to have a blog feature, and within that blog, they're able to have the articles that they've written. And that's something that's really cool that I've seen students do, and be able to not only add SEO to their page. Blogs are a great way to have and be found online organically. And so I love how, depending on what template they choose, and you as a professor can also take a look at a few templates and have those 3 be the main ones you have them use in your project or your material, so that they have a starting point until they really, get to having that understanding of how to use this, which is something that I like. I like it when some professors give them 3 templates to choose, and then they make something out of it and they customize it to their own. So just a few different options in here for you to kind of look at. Let's see here. I have another question. Oh, ChatGPT. So I did want to show that. Let me just go ahead and edit this template. So once you choose edit, the student is going to start customizing that template. And for me, what you see here is that Wix is building out that template. It's building out all the features and all the pages that live in it. And I want to kind of show how we have AI for some of the writings sections. So I'm happy to kind of talk about that since that was a fun topic. Let's see here, Joel. Yes, I would think that the choice of template could help the student think a little more about the kind of writing they do or want to be hired to do. Yes, so not only can you specify, these are the 3 that I want you to use, because it's going to, drive you a little crazy looking at a bunch of different templates, but it's going to allow there to be some sort of symmetry throughout the course also, and it'll make it easier for you to grade too, because you're setting the points on what it is that you want to have them have within their project and their page. And I would also say if you wanted custom templates that were also with the school logo and things like that, that's something that we offer as well. But that's something that's more at a larger scale. So part of the enterprise plan. So something to think about on what you'd like to do. So here, once I choose the template and it's ready to go, I'm able to see the canvas. And I just kind of want to show a little bit of the AI that we have for text. And so any element that the student is going to be clicking on, whether it's an image or a button or paragraph, they can actually edit and customize. That's why we always say it's very easy to customize, because it's just drag and drop and a click away. So for my Chat GPT joke, let's just say I am an English major. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm having trouble with my welcome. What kind of examples can I use? And a welcome is always something, or an about me section is always where a student kind of gets stuck. It's always funny in a career space how some students don't know how to talk and brag about themselves. And so I like to show this because it is English portfolio. It is an area that students struggle with. And I can always show them, okay, if you're struggling and you're not sure how to start, use the AI text and just add some of these things, right? So you mentioned English, and what kind of things can we add in here? What's the important? English major, writing. Are they, what kind of writing are they looking to do? Writing portfolio. Throw in some things in there. Are they going to be, I don't know, are they an author? Are they a novelist? I don't know. Are they writing articles? Let me just throw that in there. And so with adding some of those things in here, they're able to have a nice starting point. And it doesn't mean they have to keep this, but at least it allows them a way to learn how to describe themselves, or at least a welcome section, because that's what we chose. And so really easily and quickly you're able to see how they can kind of have that, if that's something that they like, and they can always edit it, and they can go at least have a starting point on what it is that they're talking about and what they're writing. And if it makes sense, right? It has to make sense. Chat GPT writes beautifully, but it has to make sense at the end of the day. So they do have to edit it. So this is me bragging about our version. We have an AI in here. Any other question? We've kind of gone through how easily they can choose a template, find something that matches their style, be able to preview it, how easily they can customize it. And these are things that we kind of cover in the workshop. Hi, Beth. Do you have any question for me?
I do, thanks. So I'm in the Career Center also with Lisa, but just at a different location. And when we help students with resume, portfolio, et cetera, it's a lot about not using a template because we want it to have some unique element, right? Yes. I can appreciate a site like Wix having multiple templates because it's just very, very helpful. At what point does it become really personalized versus looking like others? Like, how does that happen?
I love that question. And I answer it by saying, yes, resumes can look the same, but the content is what's different. And also the way that students showcase it. And also there's a part in our workshop that we talk about branding and showing your personality and your style. And that's easily done. And we give tips on what that could be. And this could easily be changed by simply, let me go here and quick edit. Maybe I have chosen this template and other students have too, but hey, I can start making this very unique. I can add an image in here if I wanted to. I can easily add a different kind of color if I wanted to. Just with colors and tones and fonts and things like that, you can start editing it and making it your own. The students also able to, be able to change their image, be able to change the way that it looks. Maybe I don't want my name in here, right? Maybe I want to have my name here in the hello, right? And so it's just depending on how much they want to customize it. And just like any other student, you'll have a student that uses a template for a resume, but they don't do much to it. So how much does a student want to start making a few changes that starts making it unique and starts making and showcasing their personality, right? So it's totally up to them how they want to do that. And I would say the content of that website is always going to be unique and different and the way that they add it, but they could easily start adding different sections, and these are things that I show them. So for example, this particular template doesn't show the work up front, which is something we recommend, especially if you're doing it for recruiters. You want them to see the work and then go into categories rather than search for it. And so you can easily add a section and start saying, you know, I want to not only start showing my work a little bit, but I also want to be able to kind of talk about different, you know, quotes maybe that I've gotten, or maybe I want to add a gallery, maybe I want to add images of that work. And so I can easily just drag and drop this and start adding the different work that I want to showcase. And just like that, now you have a whole section, the student's able to show this, and then they can kind of edit this section and say, okay, this is just some of the work from my portfolio. Maybe I don't really want a blurb, and they can start editing it and customizing it. So it just depends on what they want to do. They can leave it like this and then just make minor changes. I've seen students make minor changes maybe with color. But they get creative on the different pages and the way that projects are listed. So it depends. It really depends. They can make it as unique as they want to, or they can leave it and maybe just change a color if they wanted to. I did see here a question about compatibility with different social links. And so we do have what we call a social bar. For some templates, you'll notice that you have a social bar that's already within maybe the front end, or maybe it's at the footer of the page, okay? And that is a really easy solve. If you do happen to see a template that doesn't have a social bar in there, the student can easily go into the element section, and we kind of go through what all of these are, but they can go here under social and add a social media bar if they wanted to, right? And when they do that, they can also go on ahead and add and choose all those different links, right? And so this is me adding a social media bar. Maybe I don't want to have Instagram or Facebook. I want to keep maybe my professional Twitter and LinkedIn. I don't want TikTok. And I can easily just add the link for that page. So now you're creating this as a hub, and you're allowing your visitor to follow you in all these different areas. So I want them to follow me on my and build my network with my LinkedIn, and I can add that in here, or I can do it with my Twitter. If you're looking for a variety of different social tools, you can easily be able to search them and be able to add them into the different social bar that you're going to see. I know for, I don't know, maybe for some of my media people, they have a Behance. Let me choose a Behance that matches color scheme. I think this was gray scale. And so I can easily just add that to my bar and then add the link. So it really depends on what they want to show, and they'll be able to add that, and then it'll be included in the social media bar that they have. So if I wanted, I could easily, I don't know, I can even change this and delete it and have it up here. Just depends on what you want to do. Such a nice variety, powerful tool. Sandra mentions, I used Wix during my master's. It was a GIS course. Creating and maintaining the site was integrated into the class. Yes, our assignments were added to showcase our skills. Absolutely. This was a good way to get students to start using services like Wix. Absolutely, Sandra. So he brought up a great point, how it was already embedded in the curriculum, and he was able to do the different assignments and that gave the final assignment and a final project and end result. Let's see here. Are you good with 5 or more minutes? Yes, you can ask more questions. Any questions that you're ready to ask, I'm happy to answer. Who knows what the next big social media platform will be in 5 years? Yes. What I love, Joel, is that Wix, if you didn't use it when it first started, really has come with the times. Like, this did not look like this before. We just got this add section added, I want to say last fall. And we just received a numerous number of updates. They happened like monthly. Our AI, we changed like the name of it because it started becoming really popular with the ChatGPT stuff. And so we've written articles on it, and we're definitely being able to stay with the times and up with all the different technologies and apps as well. So I'm happy about that. I can brag about that. I have here, Faustina, I'm a student majoring in agriculture. I don't have experience with ePortfolio, but I'm looking forward to making one. Does Wix generate a personal website at the end? Okay, great. So these are websites that you're building, and the purpose behind what you're building is what it will be. So this instance, this is a website that becomes an ePortfolio or a portfolio. This particular one that I'm showing an example of showcases projects, but also has a career piece to it. And maybe I want to be hired for an opportunity. And so it has a resume embedded in here, a section for that. And so really quick, I'll just show you what that means, right? How do I make this live, and how do I make this into a site that I can start sharing? And I want to show you how easily you click on save. You again receive a free URL link for the page that you create. You can make as many as you'd like for free. And you can also customize the tail end of it. Your domain is going to include your email handle. So I always recommend they use a professional email. I have seen funny ones in there. .wixsite.com and then / I'm going to make this, what was I, an English major? So I'm just going to put here portfolio lit. Okay, so I'm going to save that. That is now the URL that I've customized. And if I've already set up my site and I've added all the things that I needed to add, I'm just going to go ahead and publish it. And within seconds, it's ready to go. I can share this with anyone, this link that I've just created, this URL, and I've customized it, and it says portfolio lit. They'll be able to see all the changes that I've made. If you do add more features or you do update the portfolio, and maybe you want to fix your resume up a little bit and your document, then you can definitely do that. All you have to do is edit it, add what you're going to add, and then publish again, and that'll make it live. So just like that, I've been able to customize a little bit my page. I've been able to add additional features if I wanted to, and I've also been able to get it ready to get online. So it really depends. It's nice. We did this in like 15 minutes. This is a quick version of a template choosing and a portfolio. So being able to add that in here is always a huge plus. And that's how quickly you can make it live. Notice that my free site, again, is the URL that's provided to me with Wix, with my email handle, and there is a banner that says Made with Wix at the top. So that's what the free version provides. The premium one, which is something that Joel had mentioned, allows the student to have their own domain name. So maybe I wanted it to be Ellery Rojas English Writings.com. And the banner here would be removed so you wouldn't see it. Okay, so that's really the main difference between that. Any other questions? Is the published website indexed in the internet search? So it is indexed, and for privacy, you can remove it also. So that brings up another great question on what does that look like. And I mentioned a little bit about how you can have the student create their own search engine optimization so that they can be found. We partnered with Google. And so what students, we also teach them is going to the dashboard, right? Because this is the front end tool. It edits and customizes the template. And the back end tool is even more powerful, where it allows them to really manage that site, right? So here the student is able to see one, contacts that follow up with them, any forms that are filled out, any chat information that comes in, it'll be added as a contact, but they can also import contacts. And what I like to show students is, if you're going to use this for career purposes, if you go to the fair, the career fair, or you meet employers at an event, you can upload those employers in here and keep track of it. And you'll be able to add them in here, communicate with them, because you can also email them from here. Again, if you add a little chat feature to your page, this is where your communication would come in. If you have forms that they fill out, this is where that communication would come in. But most importantly, for search engine optimization, we have a nice little SEO wizard, and it helps them to be found on Google organically. And they could easily, through a series of questions, start adding SEO. This SEO that it starts with is for the website as a whole. And also they can add SEO to anything. So any other images, any other video, any other text on the site, any blog, any features that you add in here, you can add SEO to it so that you can be found. And so if I were to put here, English major, I don't know, writings, I don't know what kind of title I'm going to give myself, but I'm also going to make myself more international, right? Rather than stay in my zip code. This is where you can easily start seeing, hey, what are the different taglines or what are different keywords that I'll be using so that I can be found. And so very easily, ooh, yes, those are plenty of different sites that you can use, that students can use also to create these portfolios. So I can put in here Ellery Rojas writing, papers, and I want to mention that I'm here in Miami because that's where I'm at, right? And so here, anything that you can think of that the student's going to be Googled for or how they want to be found, they'll be able to add the different keywords in here. And so they ask for 3, and you can go on ahead and add them in here. Okay. And just like that, you've been able to create those keywords so that the site can be found rather than have them worrying about maybe something that happened like in a spring break. If this is what they want to have up there up front in the search, it's true, Joel, it happens. I always tell them, make sure you Google yourself. That's number 1.
I laugh because it's been a long time since that's ever been a problem for me.
Yes, yeah, that is true. We try not to be tagged in things. So here we've learned our lesson. The students love tagging, so it still happens. But it just gives you a nice little checklist of, okay, what's left to do? So you can add this to Google. And now they've added SEO, and that's another skill that they've learned. Okay, so here I kind of went through the platform as a whole. I hope that kind of helps you and you're able to kind of see it at what it does and how easily you can start that process and looking at templates and things like that. Any questions? I did see here about email. Yes, you can use your student email. It's perfectly fine to have it in here. You can, what I tell students is, yeah, use your school email, depending on your faculty or your professor who's using this, you can do that. Just remember that if you aren't going to be active as a student actor, you can always go back and change the email. So you can always update the email that's used in the account. That's a really great question. So just talking a little bit more on what we're able to offer, tailored workshops for the class, for a department, for the students, whether they're introductory or a little bit more advanced, faculty workshops to get them learning about the tool and how to use it as a tool to teach. Happy to have that as well. And then just a nice little quote here, because we like to end our workshops asking the students, I used to think, and now I think. And this is a nice quote of a student who thought that it was going to be more difficult than it really was, and that it was really going to allow them to be much more creative and than a traditional resume. So really nice quotes that we have. But as far as curriculum, what could that be? These are just a few examples. Digital retail, digital marketing, digital portfolio, just a few sampling of the different kinds of curriculum that we provide and assist with. And another nice little quote from one of our partners. This one's actually from FIU on how it's helped her courses, her marketing courses, and how it's been able to help the students use digital skills that they can take on with them later on. So just a list of a few other partners that we have had in the past. If you're kind of wondering who else you worked with, many more, as well as this is a good example for you to check out later. It's a landing page. So if this is something you wanted to add to your college or your department, this is one that we have with Yale, and they want to have their students use ePortfolios. And we were able to help make this for them and showcase all the different tools that are available, as well as what that would look like, right? The different offerings and the different things that we could provide for you all. And then at a larger scale, if UConn as a whole said, hey, I want to use this and start getting the students on this ePortfolio train. So lots of options for you all. I see our numbers are dwindling. Any questions, anything else I can answer?
I wanted to jump in here and say, I feel like this workshop could go on another hour because the information is so interesting and so helpful. I wanted to thank Ellery for this fantastic presentation. I'm really looking forward to going and doing a deep dive into Wix myself after this. Instead of taking time away from any part of her presentation, I put a list of other online resources in the chat, which I'll email out to everybody with links. But I think we got a fantastic overview of the capability of Wix and how it could be helpful with our work with students or ourselves. So I just, again, wanted to thank Ellery. And I wanted to add, if you have not also done already, I invite you to become a UConn Career Champion. If you're wanting to know how to do that, you can visit the UConn Center for Career Development website, and under who we serve, under the faculty and staff, there's information about career champions. I will have Ellery's contact information that I can hopefully provide to everybody. I've got some thumbs up.
Yeah, it's here on
And-
screen.
Perfect, right there too. And again, just wanted to thank Ellery and thank you all for attending the presentation today. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.